Am I the a-hole for refusing to attend my brother's wedding and recommending him to get a paternity test? My 22 female older brother, 26 male, was dating his fiancée for a total span of about 3 years before proposing. 2 years into dating, she cheated on my brother with another man. She told my brother about it. He was obviously broken because he thought that she was it for him, and they ended up breaking up. A year went by and my brother was a mess. He was depressed, lost a ton of weight, and my family and I barely saw him that year. He just wasn't the same. After a year passed, my brother progressively got back to his old self. My family and I were very proud and supportive of him. So last week, he contacted our whole family and asked if we can plan a family dinner, as he had an announcement. So we arranged the dinner this past Sunday. We all gathered at my parents' place. He walked in, accompanied by his ex-girlfriend, the one who cheated on him. Safe to say, we were all confused, but my mom allowed her to stay for dinner. He revealed to us that they had gotten back together a few months ago, and as of a few weeks ago, were engaged, and that she's also pregnant. The table was so silent you could hear a pin drop. She explained to myself and my family that she had made a mistake that she deeply regretted, and realized that my brother is the love of her life. I asked her if she thinks it's a little too late for that, after she cheated on my big brother and humiliated him to all his friends and family like that. My brother told me to calm down, and his fiancée told me that it's their business, and it's time for us to get over it and move on. I am very aware that my brother is a grown adult who makes his own decisions and isn't influenced by anyone. I also am aware that his relationship is his business, but he told my family and I that his fiancée cheated on him. So obviously we are going to have our own opinions about the situation and about her. He can't expect us not to. He told us that he would love if we would support them and attend their wedding in a few months, as they want to do it before the baby comes. I told my brother congratulations, but I will not be attending the wedding and that I think he should get a paternity test for the baby. His fiancée got extremely offended and started going off on me, saying that I'm slut-shaming her and that she doesn't deserve this treatment. I told her if the shoe fits, ... She stormed out of my apartment and my brother followed after her. He has now been messaging me saying that I need to apologize to his fiancée and accept her into the family by attending the wedding. She's been sending me nasty texts telling me off. My father and grandparents both agree with me that my brother should get a paternity test, while my mom has always favored my brother and feels that we need to forgive his fiancée and move on. Am I the a-hole for not attending my brother's wedding and telling him to get a paternity test? Info: my brother's fiancée is a couple months pregnant. They claim they got back together a few months ago. That's why I suggest a test to my brother. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. A paternity test is in order, and maybe also a brain check for your brother. If the baby is born while they are married, it's legally his. This conversation with your brother would be better had just the two of you in private. Both tried to keep calm, had no name calling. Make sure he knows whether it's his or not. He will be legally and financially responsible. You can't force him to want to know for sure, but you can make sure he understands it's a lifelong commitment. Not the a-hole. Haha, amazing. Not the a-hole. But for real, your advice was quite sound. Maybe a little tasteless to say right in front of her, but if the baby is indeed your biological nephew, she should have no issues taking a test. In fact, she sounds like the kind of person that would gleefully gloat that she was right, and you guys were all being jerks. The fact she is sending you nasty texts for one somewhat tasteless comment makes me think that the baby might not be your brother's. You're right, the timing is suspicious. If she takes the paternity test and it is his, the right thing to do would be supportive and attend the wedding, and try and forget the past as best you can. But I have a feeling this won't be the case. Good luck to you and your brother, OP. She was giving my family and I so much attitude at the table when my brother was talking to us. So in the moment, I thought the comment was warranted. Oh, by all means, I think most people would have done the same. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not making my brother and his fiancée a wedding cake after they refused to pay me? I, 25 female, love to bake. It's a big passion of mine and something I love to do as a hobby in my free time. I have an Instagram account that I use to show off my work, which is mainly the cakes I bake and decorate. I make these cakes for family and friends for birthdays or special occasions like Christmas, Easter, etc. I never charge for these cakes, but I'm always compensated in some way by family and friends. They'll usually gift me money or a gift card to my favorite restaurants. or make me a dish in return as a thank you. Now, my younger brother 23 male and his fiancée 23 female were planning their wedding and asked me a few months in advance if I'd be able to make their cake for them. This would be my biggest order yet, as they wanted a 3-layer cake as the wedding was for 75 people, and a flavor of strawberry shortcake as is their favorite. I was hesitant at first, but agreed to make the cake, under the condition that I was compensated for it. I explained to them that this was the biggest order I've ever had, and was going to take up a lot of my time, labor, and be costly. I gave them a very fair price for a cake of that caliber. They agreed. I also made it clear that I wanted to be paid before the wedding. I provided them multiple sketches of what the cake would look like, made a practice batch of the actual cake so that they could sample, and they loved the cake and approved of everything. Fast forward to last week, 6 days before the wedding. I contacted my brother for my payment as I was going to get started on buying the rest of the ingredients for the cake, minus the strawberries. I was going to do that closer to the date so they could be fresh. He assured me he'd drop off my check the next day. Next day came, brother went MIA and no check arrived, so I tried to contact him again. Next day came, no check again. I offered to drive to their house and pick up the check, but they made an excuse that it didn't work with their schedules. So, the day before the wedding, I contacted both my brother and his fiancée asking again. They blew up telling me that I'm a selfish witch for charging them, when I don't charge the rest of the family and that they refuse to pay, but demanded me to make the cake. I said no, and explained my terms again. They called me a selfish a-hole and said I better make the damn cake. I again said no, so the day of the wedding, I decided not to attend due to the amount of disrespect they showed me. Well, my brother, his fiancée, and her family are now blowing up my phone, sending me all kinds of nasty messages. My family are trying to stay out of it, but don't think I should have screwed them like that. Am I the a-hole for not making the cake after they refused to pay me? Edit. I was charging them $400. They knew exactly what they were doing. For anyone who is giving you a hard time about it, tell them you're certainly welcome to make a free wedding cake for them. Not the a-hole. Worst part is, it wasn't just for them. It was by no means a small wedding. It was for 75 people. That's a lot of cake. Not the a-hole. And for a 25-year-old woman, you have a remarkably good ability to set and enforce a boundary, and not be guilted into doing things. I think many people in your situation would have made a cake out of a sense of guilt, and then just be resentful afterwards for being out all the time and money. Then they'd be posting here wondering if they are the a-hole for being mad and asking for the money over and over after the fact. Your way or the other way people would be mad, because they're entitled users. You shut it down on the front end. Well done. In fact, I would argue they still owe you about $50 for the time you spent making the sketches and the sample cakes. My money estimate is based on what you said about charging $400 for the full cake. Your brother and his now wife are entitled a-holes, but you're definitely not. You were upfront about the charges, and $400 for a 75-person wedding cake is pretty inexpensive. They agreed to this, and then tried to guilt you into doing it for free at the last minute. The fact that her family's piling on shows the familial level of entitlement going on there. This is the type of thing that would cause me to go either low contact or no contact. It doesn't sound like you'd be missing out on much. Next story. Am I the a-hole for being brutally honest with my friend before her wedding? My best friend for the last 10 years is getting married in a few weeks. This past weekend was her bachelorette party. She got quite wasted. But I don't drink a lot, so I played it safer and stayed pretty coherent. At one point, she was in the bathroom vomiting and crying, looking through pictures of her ex on Instagram. All the other girls were comforting her and talking about what a piece of trash he is, etc. The next maybe hour turned into fixation on her ex, how they should have been the ones married, etc. Her ex recently had a baby with his new wife, so I understand it may have opened old wounds, but they split up 5 years ago. I am also one of the few people who actually know why they split up. And all I can say is it was definitely her fault. After the hour, I tried to get us all out of the bathroom and continue the night. The next morning things seemed fine, but then my friend was going through her phone and saw she had called her ex 10 plus times. She freaked out, but the calls were also short and we assumed he didn't pick up. I told her she needed to delete his number from her phone and move on, because it wasn't fair to the guy she is marrying if she continues to be hung up on her ex. Everyone got really upset with me for being insensitive, and I was made to feel like it was my fault for letting her call him. Eventually, my friend asked me to go home early. I learned from one of the other bridesmaids that they spent the rest of the morning bashing me in addition to X. I was told that part of a bachelorette party is getting closure with old relationships, and my judgmental attitude ruined it for the bride-to-be. I talked to my sister about it, and she said while my friend was being ridiculous, that it's my job to put aside my feelings for the bride as maid of honor. We are all in our 30s though, and this seems very odd to me. Am I the a-hole? Edit. I just want to put this here as a lot of people keep asking I should tell her fiancé. In any normal situation I would agree, but in this case, she has been asked in the past to choose between him and her ex. She chose her ex, and made it clear to her now fiancé she would rather be with her ex. But her ex said he didn't want her and left, so she stayed with her now fiancé. So fiancé knows on some level, and telling him wouldn't be a big revelation, and likely wouldn't make him end the wedding. It would just make him sad and rub his nose in something that he is aware of. The other bridesmaids are not my friends. I'm only friends with the bride. Also, people keep asking why I am her friend. One main reason, as sad as it is, that I didn't have a real friend until university. The town I grew up in was very small and conservative, and I'm a gay woman. When I came out in high school, I became a pariah. She was the first person who was ever kind to me, ever stood up for me, and was my first friend. So I think maybe I have been more willing to turn a blind eye to her poor choices than I should be. But I am reconsidering that now. I do have a much better and broader support circle now, but I do think I see her as that kind freshman and sort of my savior, which clouded my judgment in not being more upset with her toxic choices over the years. Now for the top comments. I was told part of a bachelorette party is getting closure with old relationships. No. Closure with old relationships should have happened way before accepting a marriage proposal. Not the a-hole at all. Your friend seems to still be carrying a torch for her ex while planning to marry someone else. Poor groom. Right? I didn't think of my ex once during my hens. Or like, ever. Because I don't care. What a weird outlook to have. I think of exes randomly in passing. Something will come up and spark a memory. But I don't have any of their phone numbers, don't check out any of their social media, and I'm certainly not dwelling on any of them. It sounds like Opie's friend screwed up with his ex and can't let go. Friend probably isn't ready to marry someone else. Not the a-hole. I'll never understand these friend groups that never tell each other the real truth. She doesn't sound like much of a friend, to be honest. Plus, I thought the point of a bachelorette party was one last night out as an unmarried woman, not spending the night wishing I was marrying my ex? The fact is, I feel bad for the groom, because he's obviously second choice and he'll probably get treated like crap. The worst part is, she usually does say things like how important honesty is, and that friends are supposed to look out for each other, so I'm just very confused. With people like that, they are, until the truth is told to them. She probably felt threatened by you that hold knowledge others don't. She's probably scared you'll blow up her wedding. Don't worry, she will blow up her own marriage. Clearly not the a-hole here. You did nothing wrong in telling your friend to respect their partner and delete their ex's number. The group sounds problematic, and I hope you don't hold yourself in bad esteem because of their behavior. Thank you. My only worry is a lot of people do tend to say the bride is always right, so I worried I messed up. But I'm glad some people see it the way I did. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my husband's parents to stop telling people my name is Catherine and for embarrassing them in front of their friends? My name is Rin. Just Rin, not Catherine. But ever since my in-laws have met me, they have gotten the idea that my actual name is Catherine, and Rin is just a nickname. I have asked them not to introduce me or tell people it's my name, but they always go back to it. My husband and I took a small break from them when it continued, and they apologized and seemed to be doing better. Then for my mother-in-law's birthday, we were invited to celebrate with them, and a couple of her friends came up to me and asked if I was Catherine. They said mother-in-law talked all about me. I decided to get a little bit jokey instead of annoyed, and played upon it saying mother-in-law is so forgetful, and that I was so sorry she told them the wrong name. That I'll need to write my name on everything she owns so they don't forget. Her friends found it funny, but told her it was weird that she gave them the wrong name. She and father-in-law came up to me close to the end of the party, and I told them to stop telling people my name is Catherine, and they need to accept that my name isn't up to them. They claim I was rude and that it was awful for me to try and embarrass them in front of their friends. by joking with mother-in-law's friends. My husband told them they should have listened, but they're saying I took it too far, and maybe I did. Am I the a-hole? How are they unaware that they're embarrassing both you and themselves in front of their friends? It's a basic of decent manners to get people's names right, to the best of one's abilities whenever possible. Not the a-hole, Rin. I like your sense of humor. You could always just add Kath to the front of their names. Hi everyone, I'd like you to meet my mother-in-law, Kath Margaret, and my father-in-law, Kath Robert. And this is their dog, Kath Fido. It is a catastrophe. What a couple of Kath holes. Not the hole. Can I introduce you to Brian, my mother-in-law, and Stephanie, my father-in-law? This made me chuckle a bit, because they hate the trend of boys' names on girls. So I could see some mouth foaming going on if anyone did this. Not the hole. This conversation should never have gone past. You. Hey, mother-in-law. I'm Rin. Nice to meet you. Mother-in-law. Oh, hi. I've never heard that name before. Is it short for Catherine? You. No, just Rin. Mother-in-law. All right, nice to meet you, Rin. Because that's how a normal introduction goes with literally every sane person on the planet. My cousin's name is Jill. Just Jill, not Jillian. She had a teacher who refused to believe that her parents would be so juvenile as to name her a nickname, and called her Jillian. When parent-teacher night rolled around, the teacher kept talking about Jillian this and Jillian that. Finally, her dad said, "Who is Jillian? Our daughter is Jill." The teacher tried to correct him. It took a copy of her birth certificate and an intervention with the principal to get the teacher to stop. Some people are their own worst enemies.